Hey everyone, thanks for joining Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to be covering 3 different things. So first off, we're going to do an unboxing showing you all the cool stuff that is included in this, as well as some of the expansions. I'm also going to give you my thoughts on the game, as I've had a chance to get this one to the table, and I went through the Learn to Play manual, and I had a chance to play through a few rounds and then finished off the floor, so I'll give you my thoughts on that. I'm also going to talk briefly about the upcoming Kickstarter campaign. So Chip Theory Games is bringing this one back to Kickstarter to reprint it, as well as add a couple of new expansions to the game as well, for those of you that already have it and are looking for some new stuff already. So, as always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider that like button and subscribing to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow and be able to produce this content. If you want to get notifications anytime I release some new videos, also give that notification bell a ring. And let's go ahead and head to the table and we'll find out what's in the box. Alright, so let's get into it. So first off, Chip Theory Games knocked it out of the park again with a beautiful design. This box is absolutely massive, very thick quality. This thing is not going to fall apart anytime soon, which is great because this is a very heavy game as usual. They pack this box full of all kinds of premium content. So first off, we have the 4-player mats, and each one of these is neoprene, just like in their other games, and is going to have little punch outs for all the different tokens and dice to be placed in them, as well as the main board for each one of the characters. And these come in orange, green, yellow, and purple for the players. From there, then we also have a neoprene mat for the command module. So this is the other character that the players will be using. They won't be able to play this character directly, but they will control this character by spending some of their actions to do different things with this character. It's also going to control the burn cycle and the different actions and things that players will be able to do through their turns. And that is also a neoprene mat. From there, we have the 3 different corporations included in this one, and each one of them is going to have their track and different threat as they go through this, and each one of them is also going to have a simplified side. So there's going to be a standard side and simplified based on the difficulty of the game you want to play. So each one of those will have their own board. And then we have the rules. So there's going to be 3 books in this. And again, I'm not a huge fan of companies that break down the rule books in this fashion. Fantasy Flight does this a lot with their games, and I really don't like this. I would prefer to have a fully comprehensive rule book that goes through everything, as opposed to the rules reference in the Learn to Play. Now, their Learn to Play in this was pretty good. I have to give them credit for that. They did a great job laying this out. Rulebook writing is a true art, and there's a lot to it, trying to get everything down. But I'm not a big fan of these separated rule books, as this one is just walls of text that are broken down, and there is a reference guide in the front here. But again, with this, even I was having spots where, again, you got to go to this page for this, and then once you start reading into that, you're like, it only covers so much of it, so then you got to go to another page, and that page takes you to another page. Just not a big fan of that. So I would have loved to see a fully comprehensive book. Maybe they'll drop one online at some point or something like that. But this one is a reference, so you're supposed to be going through the Learn to Play book first and then use this one as kind of questions and things come up. But again, especially for a person like me that obviously does teaching videos, that is going to be a little bit more challenging. So then the Learn to Play book. So again, this is a massive book. Now this is going to take you through and show you all the different things, but it is 42 pages. The rules reference is also a behemoth at 42 pages. So you're looking at 90 pages of rules with this game. This is not a light game by any means. So this one's going to start out with your lore, and then we have the table of contents. All of the different components are included in the game. And then they will start moving into setup. Now again, with this one, you will play as you go through this, which is really nice. It does walk you through and explain how things work, how the different options you have, and will actually make selections for you, having you draw specific cards and everything else. So it really does hold your hand kind of through the whole process, and at least get you a few turns under your belt before letting you go to try to finish it. And then if you want more, they do have a download that you can download on the website that takes you through a couple of further turns in this. So that is really nice as well, but this is a absolute massive rule book. And then finally we have the floor plan. So again, this is going to be based on your game, and there are 3 different floor plans for each one of the different corporations in this. And then they also throw in floor plans for the 4th corporation if you have purchased that expansion, which you'll see what's included in that a little bit later, the Biodefend expansion. All right, so from there, then we have our first tray, and this is going to have all the different rooms that are included in this game. These are all neoprene mats that will be dropped down over a larger mat. Each one of these has little punch outs for the different doors. You'll be placing tokens in there to represent that the doors have been opened. So, and each one of these is very different, beautiful colors on these, great layouts. You have all your different icons on these, and those will have different effects throughout the game. And again, there's a number of different sizes here. We have some with little cutouts in them, and all the different sizes for these rooms. Some smaller rooms that we get into, and square rooms, got 4 of those, 5 of those. There's one more. Nope, that's just a thicker piece of neoprene. Interesting. And then that one. And then we have some smaller squares, a couple of them there. Smaller rooms. So tons of different layouts for this. And then we have a stairwell and a single doorway. Finally, we have the different holders. Each one of these is for the different players. It'll have different little tokens that you'll be able to place into these points to keep track of your different stats, as well as one for the command module, your doors, and the little pings that you'll be seeing in a little bit and what they're for. From there, then we get into the lower parts of the box, and this is going to have what appears to be a fair amount of room for additional content as well. So they've definitely, it looks like, taken into thought or taken into mind about that as well. So first off, we have our draw bag. This is a basic draw bag for some randomization of different things. Then we have our trays for our chips. Of course, tons of different chips in here. So we have our different breakaway doorways that we make holes in the walls. And then we have our different burn cycles, our boss, our captains, and different things. And then the different nodules and things. And then the characters. So you have, each character has 2 different tokens. You have the character token to track them on the board, and then you have their access token, or their spotting token. Basically, if they get seen, then you'll drop this token down onto the board. And there's a bunch of them. We have access and bites, bits, casing, crash, X, interface, and memory, and she comes with her own little like mini bots kind of thing, processor, and these will be the different bots that players can control, as well as you'll have one of them be the command module bots as well. So that's our first one, and then the next one in here is going to be for all the different enemies in there as well, and then some of the other things you're going to find throughout the level. So you'll have different caches and keys, as well as the terminals, and then mainframes. And then there's 3 levels of enemies. Each one of these will have the level on the back of them, and then they will have their different types. So we have a hamster here, and a walker, task drone, and the bulldog. And then they'll have their different stats on there. And these are patrols, so it'll show you how they patrol in that as well, which is really interesting. Then the level 2 guys, so just upgraded versions of a lot of these. Some new ones like Radiohead. And then finally we have our level 3s, and we have our corporation guys. So each corporation will have their own character, as well as the different captains. So these are going to be kind of like your end stage bosses, I believe. Each one of these is super nasty, will have their own set of little rules. And then our level 3 guys, and these are a little bit different. We have ghosts, and then some upgraded hamster, walkers, and whatnot. From there, then the dice, there's going to be 3 trays of dice included in this. So again, as you get some of the expansions in that, you'll be able to add these in. So we have our action dice that are broken down into the 3 levels of different actions, the basic, advanced, and elite. And then you also have your different dice for the network and then the different equipment pieces you can get. There'll be dice for some of those as well, and then some other dice are included for that. And then again, you'll get an extra one. So again, as you get expansions and things, that'll add into there. And then there's all these little spots on here for different things as well, which currently there isn't anything for that. So apparently they have a lot planned for this game. Then you also get a really nice tray that holds all of your cards and has slots for everything. And each one of these underneath there is going to have the keyword in there, so it lets you know exactly what is supposed to be in there as well. So with that, we have our keypad. So as you are required to open doors, these will give you different obstacles and things you have to achieve or pay in order to pop those doors open. You can also just bash through them as well, do a strength check. Then we have our imperatives. These are kind of like good or bad type of things, but will give you different requirements you have to meet. And if you do, then you'll get a number of power points that you can spend to boost up your different robots. From there, we have our mods. So these will give us different modifications on there. And we also have equipment. So again, with the equipment, a lot of them will also come with a die, which will be listed on the piece of equipment. And then some of these are single use. Some of them will require you to roll a die, and depending upon what you roll, you might have to discard the card or get to keep it and whatnot. So a whole collection there. We also have reference guides for the player turn, the corporation turn, and then the different actions you can take, as well as the optimized options within that. And there's also 2 decks of larger cards. We have our network cards that allow you to draw these at certain points throughout your turn and will benefit you potentially depending upon where you land during the network phase of the turn. And then we also have terminals. So whenever you are at a terminal, you can access it, and then based on the different things, you can make selections and try to get your power level up high enough that you can trigger some of these things. And I do apologize, some of this might not be 100% correct. I've only played the game once, so I'm doing my best to kind of explain some of this, but I'm not going to say that I'm doing everything 100% right. So then finally, we have all the different cards for the different players. Let me get these all out of here. All right, so first off, we have our different corporation cards. So these are the different missions that you'll be playing through. Each one of these will list the number of floors and the complexity of the game as you get into it. So some of these are only a single floor, so they're going to be quicker games, and the complexity is low as well, so these might be great starting missions. And this one, actually, the Mega Market Sweep is the one that you'll start the actual Learn to Play tutorial in the book as well with. And so there's a whole collection of these per corporation, so plenty of replayability, tons of different missions within this. From there, then we have the different characters you can play on their boards, and these will also double as the command module board. So one side is going to be the command module, and the other side will be the playable side. So each one of these, again, can be used as either of them. So a whole bunch of characters you can choose from. Each one has some of their own abilities, and will have different ways, different things that they can get, as well as the different powers and requirements they have and all that kind of stuff. And each have their different specialties. And then finally, we have our different captains. So each one of these will detail different things and will have their own abilities and whatnot, and a ton of hit points, as you can see, all the different things on those. We also get some glass markers to keep track of different things throughout the game. And then finally, we also have 2 additional mats. So we have our network mat. All right, and this one is going to have a spot for each one of the players to start, and they'll place their little marker in there, and then you'll travel around the network trying to get different upgrades, and potentially the evil corporation is going to drop different pings in there trying to eliminate your characters from the network, and so you'll have to try to challenge them, and then you'll be able to do different things on here, landing in different spots to complete some of those network cards and whatnot as well. And again, that's a neoprene mat. And then finally, we also have our floor mat, and this is also neoprene. And this will have where you're going to be placing all of those different room tiles on, the different room tiles, and then you'll have your starting locations and all that. So that is everything included in the core box. Okay, so from here then we have a couple of expansions. So this is all I have is the playable content. There's a couple of other things you can pick up for this as well, some aesthetic things and some really cool brass and pewter models. But with this, all I have are these two additional expansions. So first off, we have our specialist expansion. This is going to add some specialists to the game: subroutine, firewall, servo, and gyro. And each one of these are playable characters. So you'll have two different tokens in there. Again, they're different tokens, and then you also have their cards. So again, each one of these will be able to be played as a character or as a new command module. And then we also have the Biodefend expansion. So this is going to add a new corporation to your game. And everything in here is for this. So we have some additional dice for the equipment that you'll get in this one, as well as a couple of new captains and our new main corporation head, as well as all the different cards for this. So we get some new imperative cards, some new mods, and some new equipment. We have all kinds of different things: signal boosters and power reserves, DIY smoke bombs, EMP emitters, RC card controls, all kinds of cool stuff you'll be able to add to your game to give you more variety. And then finally we have all the new cards for the corporation, all the new levels that you can play, and our two new captain cards. From there, we also have a couple of new tiles that you'll be able to play on in there. And this is a big one, massive one. And then finally, the brand new corporation tile. Well, that is everything included in the boxes. So the next thing I want to talk about is the upcoming campaign. So Chip Theory Games is bringing BurnCycle back to Kickstarter to do another crowdfunding campaign so that they can get a reprint done of the base game and all the expansions with it, as well as bringing new material into the game. So if you missed out on the original Kickstarter and you'd like to jump in, this is a good time to do so. And they're going to be bringing new stuff. So if you've got everything already and you're already itching for some new stuff, they are going to have you covered there as well. So this campaign, I believe, is going to be called the New Recruits, and this one is going to introduce some additional characters you can play. You can also gain a brand new corporation expansion that'll add a new corporation to the game, and then there's going to be, of course, some secrets that they haven't released yet, and they haven't really released too much yet. So as this campaign gets closer, we'll have some more information for that, and I might do another video depending upon what kind of information is out there. So with this one, it is going to be going back to Kickstarter on July 19th. We'll start, and it'll go until the 29th. So it's going to be a shorter campaign of about 10 days. So if you want to get some new stuff, or if you haven't gotten the BurnCycle yet at all, this is going to be your next opportunity for this, as a lot of their stock is already diminished. They, I'm sure, will have some stock at Gen Con if you're able to go to Gen Con, and you might be able to snag a little bit on their web store at this point. But if you haven't gotten it now, it's probably going to be a little harder to get up until within a couple months. It'll probably be gone completely, if not sooner. So if you want this one, definitely grab it now or get on it during the Kickstarter campaign. That'll be your next best shot at grabbing this and probably getting some other stuff and maybe getting a little bit of a better price. We'll see. It depends on how things go and where the market is with this one. So from there, let me talk about my thoughts on this one so far. So I don't have a lot of experience with this so far. I had a chance to get it to the table, and I went through the Learn to Play mission, which again, like I said before, they did a really good job on. I definitely want to give them credit for that, as I've played other Learn to Play like books that have kind of walked you through, and a lot of them are lacking. This one does a pretty good job of taking you through everything. I didn't have to reference the rules reference too much, but they do take you step by step by step, so you're not really doing a lot on your own. You're going to just be following along, which is definitely good for your first couple turns. And then I also did have a chance to play this one. I had a 2-hour session at Origins that I got to play through one of their kind of scenarios that they've set up for this as well. So other than that, my thoughts on this one so far is that it's interesting. This one is, I remember during the Kickstarter campaign, I wasn't quite sure what this game was, and I was a big fan of chip theory games. Obviously, I love Too Many Bones and Cloud Spire, and so I was interested to see what they were going to do with this one, but at least during the campaign, I had no idea what kind of game this was. So basically, with this one, you are going to be playing as a like an espionage kind of campaign where you're going to be trying to sneak into these corporations, achieve certain objectives, hopefully trying to remain as undetected as possible, and then getting out of there before the alarms have been sounded too much and they've been able to send their guards in to take care of you. They're also going to have different levels in this, so depending upon the scenario you've chosen to play, you might have between 1 to 3 levels that you'll be playing through, and then each one of those is also going to have a rating of complexity, so depending upon how complex it is or the different requirements and how hard that's going to be to achieve. So those are the couple of things with this one. So that is the basic gist of it, so that like I said, I didn't quite know what it is, so I'm sure you might have some similar questions about what this one is. Other than that, it is an interesting game, and it is about managing the different actions you have. You're going to have your command module that will have certain objectives that you're going to have to meet as well, and that command module doesn't have actions of their own, so the players are going to have to work together not only to achieve their objectives, but then also move that command module to character around as well to achieve that character's objectives. And you'll be able to mix and match as you move around and do different things. You'll be able to kind of take some of those actions to help that character move around the board as well. And so you're going to have to balance that out, and you only have a certain number of turns or rounds to do this depending upon how well you are able to manage your threat. And there'll be certain things that'll raise that each round. At the end of each round, that'll go up. And then each time you do a burn cycle to reset your board, that is going to cause it to go up as well. And then there'll be other things that will also trigger that. Some might be mission specific, and other ones will be based on some of the actions you take, such as like breaking through walls or some of the other things. So those are my thoughts right now. I had a good time with it. I'm interested in digging into this one a little bit more. I will have a playthrough video and a teaching video coming out for this one. Now, give me a little bit of time on that, as this, as you already saw, is a massive, massive game. So it's going to take me a little while to kind of digest this one and figure out how I'm going to break this down in the best possible way. Unfortunately, I got a feeling this is going to be a long video. I'm going to do my best to try to keep it under an hour, but we'll kind of see how things go. As you already saw in the unboxing, there's 42 pages of rules reference and 42 pages of the learn to play, which when you can kind of combine those together and start shaving off some of that other stuff, you're still looking at probably about 60 pages of rules within that. So this is going to be a heavy video, and definitely a mountain to climb for me as well. So let me know as I'm working on that, if there's certain things you'd like to see, and if there's certain questions you have that you would like answered, if this is one that you've already picked up and you've started playing it, if there's certain things that are throwing you or that you would feel would be good to cover in this as well. So I hope that gives you an idea about this one, and also helps you to determine if this is one that you want to add to your table or not. Like I said, I will have some more coverage of this one coming soon. The playthrough video will probably be the next one that I drop after this, just to kind of, again, get some more stuff out there, let you see how it is in action, and maybe for those players that have played a lot or have more experience than maybe I do, maybe they'll catch some things that I might have done wrong or whatnot, and that way then that'll give me a little bit more as I get into that teaching video. So as always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button, subscribe to my channel. It helps me tremendously and helps to continue to grow the channel. Also consider sharing the video with others, spreading the word, and letting them know that I have a teaching video coming as well. So you can stay tuned to that, hit that notification bell. That way you get notified when I drop that video, and stay up to date on all the rest of the stuff that I have going on in the channel. So until next time, I'll see you later.